Hey everyone, I'm Scott Cunningham, aka Scottsy Business, and today we're going to be going through another episode of Amateur Investing where I cover my dividends, crypto earnings, growth crypto investments, stock investments, all that good stuff, so that you can see how my financial journey has been going along on the way to retiring in less than 10 years from when I started. We are about a year and a half in or so. And things are looking very good. This is very, very convenient for me because just today we saw a massive rise in Bitcoin and we passed the $60,000 USD mark, which has been a big milestone psychologically. And we had the stimulus passed. So now everyone's throwing all their money at Bitcoin. And we have a $4.8 billion pledge to buy Bitcoin for, I believe it's the Miami Blockchain Fund. I can't remember exactly sure, but it's a very, very rich person from Dubai who's pledged to buy $4.8 billion worth of Bitcoin. We don't know when that's going to happen, but if Bitcoin was raised 15% from Tesla's 1.5 billion, then I cannot imagine what 4.8 billion is going to do. All that being said, everything's looking amazing. I tracked this all originally and wrote it down at the beginning of the month, so everything that you're seeing now is going to be a lot higher than when I originally marked it. Regardless, though, let's jump into all this. Just before we get into the video, though, a word from my sponsor. A big thank you and shout out to my sponsors at Cake Wallet, which is an open source, non-custodial Bitcoin and Monero wallet that also has a built-in exchange. It's available on iOS and Android. Thanks again to my sponsor. Now for the video. We'll start with my dividends as we usually do. My total is now $559 worth of dividends earned. Last month was, it was an okay month. It was $48. So, not amazing, but, there's different stocks that pay at different times. Some are quarterly, some are monthly, and it all kind of works out. So as you can see, the actual line, like this line here, is showing what I'm actually getting, and the bar graph is the projected income. So you can see that it does fluctuate a lot based on that trend. And, when you get the quarterly payments, it's obviously going to go up a lot. And then, it differs from month to month. So, it's up and down, but generally trending upwards. So that's very, very good to see. I did a crazy amount of rebalancing with my dividends. Basically continuing to rebalance and shrink it down. I will get into all the individual stock buys and all that good stuff very soon. But let's just get through all of the high level stuff. I've also, if you didn't notice when we just started, I have a new camera angle over here. So that's really great. It's not necessarily a new angle, but I got a mount so that I can kind of move it around and do different things with it. I've changed up the background a little bit in the studio here, and I've also done a lot of new things for this portfolio to visualize things better. So you guys, I hope you appreciate all the work that I've put into upgrading this. You won't see that until I get to the overall stock, the overall portfolio look, but it's going to be a lot better visual because before I know it was very bland when you're just looking at spreadsheets. So crypto income. Not really very much last month because I stopped doing my Hive passive income. I'm just powering down all my Hive and switching it into Ethereum. I'm going all in on growth crypto for Bitcoin and Ethereum for the next 6 months because I really believe that we're going to see 200 to 300,000 for Bitcoin. I'm following the stock to flow model. And I've been saying for the past 4 or 5 months that if we pass $60,000 USD Bitcoin before March 31st, the stock to flow model is so accurate that I'm 100% confident that we are going to reach 200 to 300,000 before the end of the year. So I might retire this year. Anyways, though, a lot of the new crypto passive earnings that I'm getting are coming from MTR from den.social because unlike Steam or Hive, I don't have to power it up and lock it up for 13 weeks for the power down. Instead, on MTR, it's completely liquid, but I still earn. So at any time I could sell, but I'm still getting all the benefit of the curation rewards and that passive income just from holding it. So a lot of my passive income is going to be coming from MTR going forward. Really, really cool platform, and a much better way to passively earn, because again, you want it to be liquid so that you can sell when you need to, because again, I think everything is going to skyrocket before the end of the year, and I got to sell most of my portfolio and then buy back in on the crash to really, like, that's the big difference, right? You 10x in the bull run, you sell at the top, and then you do another 5x on the crash, and then you try to get another 10x on the next 4 years, right? So that's kind of how you build it. At least that's what I'm trying to do. So I actually sold out all of my RealT tokens, not because I don't think it's great. I actually did an interview with them very recently that you're going to see very soon. I think RealT is awesome. I promise I'm probably going to be buying back into it in 2022 for the bear run, because passive income is really good during the bear run, but not so good during a bull run. And that's why I sold it. I'm going 100% into Bitcoin and Ethereum. I mean, I have a little bit of other things like Dash, Bitcoin Cash, and LBC, but I'm really going all in on my growth stocks. I'm about 85%, not growth stocks, growth crypto, and I'm very, very confident in it. So, we'll see over the next few months how this plays out, but I'm very, very confident this is going to work out very well. Crypto appreciation. Like I said, I did this at the beginning of the month, so we are way beyond this now. But this was what it was at the beginning of the month. I think it's important to just have one monthly price update, because the price goes way up and then it goes way down, it goes way up. And if you look at it day to day or week to week, it's so volatile and you're like, man, I don't know if I'm going to gain money or if I'm going to lose money. But then you zoom out and you look month to month. There's only 1 month where I lost 0.34%, and every other month has been almost every other month has been double-digit gains, except for September, which was just 7%, which is still amazing for 1 month. But then we've seen months with like 100% gains. So, it's pretty crazy. Oh, this should actually be updated to the next value here. There we are. So 127,000, just completely amazing. You'll see the updated value when I take a look at the total portfolio, but this is just updates as I go through each month at the beginning of the month. So for my stocks, I also recorded that it was slightly down because I sold off all of my AMD. I sold off my gold stocks. I sold off all of my growth stocks, and I put everything into Bitcoin mining stocks because, again, aligned with what I expected to happen, which is what is happening now, is Bitcoin is just skyrocketing. And naturally, I expect Bitcoin mining stocks to do that as well. And the only reason that I invested in Bitcoin mining stocks instead of Bitcoin directly was so that I could get exposure to Bitcoin. And I think mining stocks are going to go up more than just a Bitcoin ETF. I want exposure to Bitcoin within my tax-free savings account so that I can get that benefit from Bitcoin, all those gains, without having any concern about that tax. And just increasing the amount of money within my TFSA without increasing my contributions so that I have more money to work with to build more dividends in the future. I don't like normally investing in growth stocks, but I am so absolutely confident in Bitcoin that investing in Bitcoin mining stocks isn't a very hard, rationalization to make. And with what we've seen with Bitcoin today, I really expect this Monday that Bitcoin mining stocks are just going to go crazy. And I expect to cash out on those sooner than later because it was just a short-term thing. I don't think I'm going to wait till when I sell Bitcoin to sell my mining stocks because the stocks was kind of just like a short-term thing. I don't like doing growth stock investing. It just stresses me out. I feel way more just safe and risk-free and just, not stressed out when everything is just in my dividends and they're doing really well and they're just, getting me money and performing really well. Because if we actually look at my dividends, I'm up 11.46% on my dividend stocks. Some of these stocks are up upwards of like 50%. Some of these bank stocks here, 67%, 39%, 49%. Got a bunch of ETFs here. Look, and here's the crazy thing, right? These are just generic ETFs that just hold, just a bunch of stocks in Canada. And these ETFs are up 30%, 30%, 20%, 38%, 30%. That's why I think it's a great idea to have, a decent chunk of your portfolio in ETFs, so you don't actually have to like keep up with all the individual stocks and worry about all that. My real estate is still doing okay as well, but most of it isn't crazy, except for this one retail REIT that I have for grocery stores mainly. Otherwise, I'm not a big fan of any kind of commercial real estate, especially right now with everything struggling to pay bills, getting shut down, all that craziness, everything switching to online. It's better to just invest in residential real estate. So that's what I've been doing. But my main focus has been real estate, insurance, utilities, and banking. So all the rebalancing that I did was just selling off a lot of things, like some of my consumer goods, all of my food and grocery. I'm done with that market. And I just went all in on banking, insurance, real estate, and a little bit more into utilities. So what the actual breakdown looks like is this. I really simplified the portfolio, and they usually say you shouldn't be more than 15% into any sector. However, I'm just really all in on these three sectors mainly. And then utilities is kind of like another safe sector, but it's a little more secondary. And then I got about almost 25% of my portfolio in just generic ETFs that are performing very, very well. Part of what I did with this rebalancing was also just selling off all of my low yield stocks and moving into the better yield stuff. And it's not that you should chase yields, but if you've got stocks, they're all in the green, you like both of them, one pays 5%, one pays 3%, you might as well just go in all in on the 5% one. But it really depends, right? Because usually ones that are lower tend to focus more on growth, so you might get more appreciation, whereas the ones that have a higher dividend usually tend to be putting more of their money to that, so less growth. So it really depends what you're aiming for. Personally, I would rather get more dividends than growth, but that's just me because I'm all about passive income and compounding my interest and then keep building that up. But that's just generally my focus. So you can see on average, I'm getting about 4.77% yield. The general aim is 5%. So 4.77 is perfectly fine. And considering the whole, dividend stock portfolio investing overall is up about $3,000, no complaints on my end, right? So that's about $109 a month. Like when you average it out over the year. But do keep in mind, I'm not getting any more RealT payments. So, that's gone. And so is my Hive payments. That's gone. So it looks like I might be getting less, but I'm really getting like way more dividends than I used to. I think before it was like 70 something and now it's 96. So, a very, very drastic difference in how much I'm actually getting for my dividends. And then once all of my Bitcoin mining stocks play out, I'm going to sell all those and just keep filling up my REITs, insurance, and banking stocks, because this has been doing amazing, and compounding interest is a very powerful financial tool. I will be talking a little bit more about compounding interest in another episode very soon to kind of visualize and go through a perfect example of how much money you can make if you try compounding interest, and actually showing what that would look like if you were to give one thing up and then put that money into that. But we won't worry about that for now. So my growth investments, which is just Bitcoin mining stocks right now, I've mainly zeroed in on Hive, DM, and DMGI. The main reason is, and these are all Canadian stocks, the main reason that they're down was just because I guess I messed up and I bought it a little bit after that original bump, and then they went back down. But now we are in the territory of all-time highs. So even though I'm down 29%, which sounds, absolutely terrible, $1,500 definitely sucks. But now that we're in this crazy time for Bitcoin, given we don't see a massive sell-off in the next 2 days, I expect that these are going to be well in the green, and I might sell off my original investment, or maybe like half or something, because I also don't feel super, super good about these because of how much they've pulled back. But, at the end of the day, I know these are going to go up with Bitcoin. So I really expect these to be either close to even or in the green by Monday. And depending on how, much money I've made on these, I will take some profits and then leave the rest in for when Bitcoin really starts to go crazy, so I can make a nice profit off of these and then just put it all back into my dividend stocks. So that is that. As I mentioned before, MTR is how I am getting passive money now. I didn't earn very much MTR in the previous months, but now that I've invested in MTR, I'm going to be getting quite a bit, and you will see that in the next update for March. So going forward, I should be getting quite a bit of MTR, and I expect the price to increase quite a bit as well. So, definitely keep a lookout for that. You can see the split here. I still have all the Hive because I'm slowly powering it down, but that's going to take a while, 13 weeks before I can actually get that out. And I do have quite a bit of MTR. Like normally I don't go and buy this much. And actually I've been earning a decent amount, so it's actually like that's the actual correct amount now. But I really, really like what Den.social is doing. And as I mentioned before, because it's liquid, I feel a lot more confident with that cryptocurrency. And it's very scarce, so having some is pretty ideal early on. But that's just my take. It's definitely in my top 10 recommended now. So that's that. I won't bother going into the growth crypto because we'll look at it in the total thing here. So this is the new part I built out for you guys. This is the really nice overview of the totality of the portfolio, all visualized very nicely with all these charts and graphs. I hope this is a much better visual for you guys to see this data. Let me know though. So when we go over to my growth crypto, you can see very, very good. It's now worth 164,000, up like 40,000 something from when I originally clocked it in at the beginning of the month, which is insane. But yeah, everything has been going up. This is in Canadian, so 85,000 is amazing. But it's close. Like Bitcoin is like 61,000 or something like that US right now. But yeah, everything is performing very, very well. My LBC is going up a lot. Like I'm starting to get a little stressed out with how much LBC I have, because I have about $40,000 worth of LBC, and that's more than I'd like to hold in one currency, because like the only things that I'm okay with having a ridiculous amount of is Bitcoin and Ethereum. I really like LBC, but it is starting to stress me out a little bit for how much that I actually have. But we're going to keep holding that. We're going to try to wait and catch the crash before it happens. The problem here is that most of my LBC, 100,000 of it, is locked up until February of 2022, and I expect the crash to happen before that. So I might not really get, all the benefits for LBC, but I'll get everything else. We already looked at this. This is for my passive income. Most of it is just coming from dividends. This is just to visualize where it's coming from. Again, I add my royalties and stuff as it comes in. So even though I generally earn $100 to $200 a year, I don't clock it in until it actually has come in. So that will be a bit of a jump once that actually, comes in and I actually start, recording it. But until then, I'm not going to assume that I'm going to get earnings, because for all I know, people could just stop listening to the music that I made. which is a whole other thing. I keep the music stuff separate. But if you're really, really interested, you could DM me and I could probably send you something. So this is the total wealth breakdown, which we'll get to in a moment. We already looked at the stock breakdown, growth sector, all in cryptocurrency stocks. So we already know that. So that actually is everything. All right. So we'll take a look at the total portfolio breakdown now. Let me, first I'll show you this because I'm kind of blocking it, I guess. So you can see how everything plays out. 71% is in growth crypto. Got like 1% of crypto dust, which is just like very small amounts that all add up. My locked LBC that I mentioned is 11%. 2% is in passive crypto. And then I've got 14% in stocks, 3% is in my Bitcoin mining stocks, and 11% is in dividend stocks and ETFs. And then I've got 1% in precious metals. So I've got about 84, 85% in crypto, which is fine with me. That's where I want to be. You can see how this all, tracks out. I sold my RealT. We've got a lot of stuff here. I wanted to make this as accurate and transparent as I possibly could. So I also added in my taxes and student debt and stuff that I have to pay still, so that I'm not like inflating what, my net worth really is. So this is the most accurate net worth that I can, get for you guys. Which is $218,000, which is phenomenal. Again, never expected to be here this quickly, but it's just about starting, right? Before I started, didn't have much money, was broke half the time, paycheck to paycheck. Then I was like, you know what? I'm changing everything. I'm investing everything. I'm saving everything, changing everything that I do to make this work. And here we are. Less than 2 years later, $218,000. So that's what these videos are all about, is showing this journey as to how this was possible. And then by the end of the year, if I'm, at $1 million or whatever, and I get to retire, then this was to show you how this was all possible. And I don't want you to copy everything I do, because that's not a good way to trade. But this is just to give you an idea of what you can do, and kind of just showing you step by step with 100% transparency how these things could play out if you were to go down this path like I have been. And it has been extremely impactful for me. Basically life-changing. I might be able to retire this year. I'm only 26, you guys. I started doing this when I was 24. So yes, it's amazing what you can do. Investing is not a rich man's game. It is a poor man's game to become rich. You have to start by investing. And that also starts with, budgeting, being frugal, saving your money. A lot of things all kind of go together, but you have to start before you can really get into it. The biggest thing is people are like, oh, but I don't know what to do. It's like, look, just throw $100 at anything. Just start. And you'll find your way as you go, because you'll never be ready. You just got to start. I mean, obviously build up a savings, like an emergency fund first, and then go from there. But you need to just start. Again, none of this is financial advice. This is mainly financial entertainment, and all of my stocks, everything I'm showing you here is 100% accurate. But all of my crypto that I'm showing you here is alleged or potentially simulated. This has to be said and included in this disclaimer for tax purposes. But anyways, I appreciate you guys for watching. Let me know how you're doing. Where is Bitcoin going? Are you invested in passive crypto, passive income? Are you focused more on growth? What are you doing for stocks? What do you think about Wall Street bets? What do you think about Bitcoin? What about the $4.8 billion that we should be expecting for Bitcoin coming in? What do you think is going to happen with the stimulus? So much to keep track of. Let me know all that good stuff in the comments below. And if you did watch to the very end of this video, I really appreciate it. Make sure to comment #1ham in the comments below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I'm Scott Cunningham, aka Scottsy Business. Cheers.